基本法確保咗一國兩制可以行穩致遠，令香港保持獨特地位。
低稅率以及健全嘅基礎建設，亦都令到香港有非常之好嘅營商環境。
香港完善嘅法制，令經濟穩定繁榮。
國安法令社會安定，自然更有利營商環境啦。香港同祖國緊密聯繫，亦都係中國一個面向國際嘅窗口。呢個地位可以話係世界上獨一無二。
基本法第115條保障咗我哋嘅貨物、無形財產，甚至係資本嘅流動自由。
無論係內地或外地企業，同香港公司合作就係雙贏。
我哋香港人有國際視野，產品融合中西文化，靈活運用兩地嘅資源同埋優勢，能夠創造出更加高嘅價值。
做初創有政府支持好重要。我哋喺2016年加入咗數碼港培育計劃，幫助我哋發展得更加成功。
我相信完善嘅金融體系以及法治係非常之適合我哋喺香港建設我哋嘅業務。
喺基本法嘅保障之下，香港喺大灣區開發之中擔任重要角色，可以見香港嘅年輕人機遇良多啊！
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the HKTDC Entrepreneur Day 2022. The session Artificial Intelligence, Companion on Competitor will soon begin. This session is conducted in English. Simultaneous interpretation in Cantonese and Putonghua is available. For physical participants joining us here, please get a headset at the reception and you can tune to Channel 1 for Cantonese and Channel 2 for Putonghua. For participants joining us online, you may select the audio channel below the video frame, and you are also welcome to raise questions through the Q&A box. Selected questions will be asked at the Q&A session towards the end. And we are very pleased to have Mr. Kelvin Cheng, founder and CEO of Wizpresso.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, so we will have also Mr. Stephen Chong, director of the Lancelot.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, so without further ado, we will have Mr. Kelvin Cheng, founder and CEO of Wizpresso, to share a few insights with us. Kelvin, please.
Thank you. Thank you. A big thanks to HKTDC for having me here today. I think I'll take the first 10 minutes to just introduce what we do and how we're using AI to sort of augment capital markets. So essentially, with Wizpresso, we don't sell coffee. Despite having espresso in the name. It symbolizes wisdom as condensed as an espresso that you can consume every day. So to give a bit of context before we delve into our product, over 95% of the data that we deal with today, be it websites, text, images, videos, they're all very unstructured. There's a lot of value that companies will find in these data, but it's nearly impossible to digest all of these. So the issue today, we all say data is the new oil, but oil is worthless unless we refine it. So we see Wizpresso in developing technology that helps refine these data into a structured format. So essentially, we believe the future of work is defined by language. That is why with Wizpresso, we focus on developing our own natural language processing so-called NLP technology to help digest these type of data within capital markets. And we focus on 3 different areas, namely research, due diligence, and reporting. So we believe AI can also be IA, so intelligent augmentation. So that is when human and AI can coexist. AI shouldn't replace everything that we do. It should enhance what we do. But bear in mind, people who know AI would definitely replace the people who don't know AI. So essentially, we believe we are building technology to not only streamline workflow, but also help capital markets professionals grow and enable them to learn a lot more. So our team is about 30 to 40 people, mostly based in Hong Kong. We have over 80% of the team are software engineers and data scientists. And we also have various advisors that align with each of our client verticals to help us understand the different workflows throughout the capital markets, from equity capital markets to legal, to also how we draft and vet disclosures and so forth. And essentially, we offer a range of SaaS products from, on the left, we have Discovery, which is our market intelligence platform. In the middle, which we'll focus a little bit more today, is Factify. It is a IPO verification platform that helps legal professionals as well as sponsors and issuers on vetting the prospectus as well as transactional documents throughout the transaction process. We also have reporting tools for ESG purpose. I think one of the main themes we are focusing on is how we can enable investors to better digest and gather ESG data. So we already have a wide range of use cases across banks, law firms, and corporates. We are relevant to the capital market. So any different stakeholders that are working within capital markets may, to some extent, touch on some of our products. And essentially, we're very fortunate to have HKTDC as our partner, as well as a lot of different players throughout the ecosystem. We're also partners with a lot of the cloud service providers, which enable us to deploy our solution very quickly to meet a lot of the enterprise-grade security. So we'll focus a little bit more on the verification workflow today, because that's one of the main focus on Factify. Essentially, why we're situated in Hong Kong is because of its global financial center status. So out of the past 13 years, 7 out of these 13 years, Hong Kong is actually the top IPO center in the world. Just looking at the number of IPO and the amount of fund raised. Hong Kong, Shenzhen, and Shanghai combined is also the #1 financing center globally. But one of the main pain points being here is that a lot of the disclosures has to be disclosed both in Chinese and English. So that makes it very difficult for a lot of the Western firms to serve this market properly. We also have one of the highest regulatory standards defined by SFC and HKMA, HAEX. So our technology is built aligned with a lot of the regulatory requirements within Asia. And when we look at capital markets, in fact, a lot of the workflows are very manual. So when you're raising an IPO, in fact, 5 to 7% of the proceeds go to fees. An IPO can take up to 4 to 12 months, as opposed to in New York, maybe 4 weeks can get you an IPO. It also involves more than 15 different parties for each transaction. And there are more and more disclosure requirements, especially within the ESG space. So we see this as a tremendous pain point that could potentially be addressed with AI. And essentially, as more and more stakeholders get involved, the cost actually compounds exponentially. And when we look at due diligence, one of the main things that lawyers and sponsors must do is called verification. So it's very simple. When you look at a prospectus, the 600-page report for every company when they're preparing to list, in fact, every sentence within the report has to be verified. So on average, each prospectus can contain up to 600 to 700 pages, over 20,000 statements, if we also include some of the financial data is disclosed. So it takes up to 3 to 4 weeks to verify all these statements. And if it's not verified properly, there may be financial penalty, reputational damage, and even the company not being able to list. And within Hong Kong, from the A1 application, which is the first step of IPO application, to global offering, there are actually so many different versions of the prospectus that will become available. And lawyers actually take a lot of time to verify these prospectus as new versions emerge. So this is extremely repetitive and tedious at the same time. And you can imagine these costs actually compound as we involve more and more stakeholders, not just lawyers, but regulators, investors, issuers, as well as printers and sponsors. So briefly, how can Factify save 70% time from verification? So let's talk about the traditional process. Currently, most of the law firms, traditionally, they would print out the draft prospectus, 600 pages of them, and they would actually take days to circle up their whole prospectus. Circle up is a process where they actually circle each statement within the prospectus and determine what needs to be verified. And each statement would then be assigned a reference ID, which is probably stored on an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document. And for each statement, they then have to find out whether they're a fact or an opinion. Now, if it's an opinion, a director have to sign it off. If it's a fact, then they have to find some sort of supporting document to back that up. And all these documents are stored somewhere, either on a shared drive or on a local desktop. So this process is extremely tedious, and you have to repeat this for every version of the prospectus. Now, Factify is a cloud-based platform that is run on what we call a server-side AI architecture. That is, what that means is most of the processing is done on the server rather than on-site at the client's computer. So with Factify, when the prospectus becomes available, instead of printing it out, the lawyer can just upload the prospectus, and within 10 minutes, the entire prospectus would then be boxed up, and our AI would actually recommend what type of statements needs to be verified and what needs to be signed off. To take that further, if they already upload the supporting document, like an audited report or an industry report, to the platform, the AI would actually automatically build the linkage between the prospectus and the original source. So this completely changes the game for the lawyers, and they can save a lot of time to advise a client and even just double check how the prospectus is being verified. We also put a lot of time into upgrading and enhancing the cybersecurity aspect of this platform. So we have the ISO 27001 on information security, and we also meet a lot of the bank-grade cybersecurity requirement. We're also very fortunate to be recognized by the ICT Grand FinTech Award last year, organized by the Hong Kong government. So with this platform, we can save over 75% time on verification. But IPO is just the first step. We're very pleased to also announce a partnership with Topan just last month to essentially augment the entire capital market. So for background, Topan Murrow is the world's largest financial printer, and they have over 70% market share of the IPO market in Hong Kong. So through this partnership, we hope that our technology combined with sort of the traditional industry can really drive changes with the Hong Kong capital markets ecosystem. And IPO is just the first step, because we see there are actually more room for augmentation post-IPO, where listed companies have to regularly disclose annual reports, ESG reports, and that is where a lot of companies may lack the right resources, and this is where AI can also be applied to augment these processes. So I think I'm running out of time. I'd like to thank again HKTDC for giving this opportunity to me, and I'll hand the mic back to the MC. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kelvin, and definitely I think the audience can grasp the essence of data being new oil. So next up we'll have Mr. Stephen Chong, Director of the Lancelot, to join us on this upcoming speech. So the floor is yours, Stephen.
Hi, thank you, the MC, and thank you HKTDC to invite us to do the presentation. And also thank you, Kevin, for your insights. I really like what you say. It is about AI is not compared to the human being, and he actually enhanced the given, like I always say, AI is just like he reset the standard and make the professional more professional. So this is maybe we can see it is very different that a garment. I think traditional bespoke tailoring is just like the far away that you think about AI, but indeed it isn't. So maybe you know that the Lancelot is a tailor-made brand that we use technology to enhance our bespoke tailoring experience. But actually in 2015, when I established this company, our aim, our dream is to explore the possibility whether we can apply bespoke tailoring on every garment. Think about that. When you are buying your dress or maybe a shirt online, like in Amazon, and then you get your product at your home after weeks, but this product is tailor-made for you. That is amazing. How amazing it is? You can think about that. First, you don't need to deal with this adorable size check that you never understand what he's talking about. Second, the brands, they don't need to produce so many stocks, so many sizes to satisfy their customer, and they cannot sell out. And third, that is the most important thing. Our earth don't need to suffer from this overproduction of garment, and this production is totally exceed what human being needs. There's a document resources that we have done is our world is actually every second there is a garbage car of garment waste to our earth. It is making this is horrible, and that's why we wanted to put bespoke tailoring inside the normal production line of garment. I think you all see this production process in the world, but that's a very long journey because we cannot done a tailor-made suit or tailor-made garment to our customer after they just purchase anything online. So what we wanted to do is we want to make this happen, and I believe we need to understand completely about bespoke tailoring, because if you are in textile industry, you will know that bespoke tailoring is completely different production process than a normal garment production. So 8 years ago, we tried to understand completely the Asian wisdom how to make a bespoke tailoring suit, and then we apply to the other garment. So let's back to the bespoke tailoring. So first, we like the professional service, we need to understand our customer and we need to satisfy our customer. The difference is we need to understand both their preferences and also their body measurement. And after that, we satisfy them by a customized cutting. It is not just what you think about garment, it is just completely start from a paper like the right top corner. And there were some limitation to the tailors. First, our service time are limited. We need to collect all the data. We need to do all the decision within an hour. Second, we do not have a second chance. That means when you cut a fabric, you cannot just grow it up and then cut it again. No, you never. So we only have one shots. So I combine with 3 tasks that our AI need to tackle. First, we need to get the most accurate measurement at the shortest time. Second, we need to understand our customer's preference in the shortest time. Third, we need to calculate the most accurate paper pattern based on customers' body measurement, their preferences, and also the design of the garment. So let's go to the measurement. The measurement part, we actually use both hand measurement and also the 3D scanning, because both technology, they have their limitations. And I do not want to just explain so much here because it is long enough for me to write an essay about that. So, but what we do is we collect data, over 150 measurement data, and then we put it in our system. Our system will analyze all these body measurement data, and then he will generate some useful ratio that is useful to make a bespoke tailoring suits. And some of those data, we actually will demonstrate to our customer for improving the communication within them as a B2C service. So in this period, after we have some SOP of the questions and guidelines, and also this demonstration data to them, our customer will more understand about them, and we can more understand about their preferences. And the final one, that is we need to make our paper pattern. That is the most difficult part on bespoke tailoring, and also the most variable part to experience tailor, because you can see fabric is flat, paper pattern is flat, and your body is 3-dimension. So no matter how your body shape is, we need to handle it all in this rectangle. And it is not only the size problem. You will see that it is all about the distribution and how we draw those lines. I will give you some example. For these shoes, these two shoes are actually in similar size, but they can just be very, very different if the lines distribution are different. That's why we need over maybe several hundreds of algorithms and calculation to make a bespoke suit. But this calculation, a human being cannot do it. I even asked a mathematics professor, he surrendered. And well, but in the Lancelot, we don't need a fitting at all, because we have done all the calculation in our AI system. So finally, what in the Lancelot did is we just put all those data, the body data, all those data we collected, and then we will output the complete guideline to our cutters. They can follow the instruction and cut the fabric. And this guideline actually we can apply on the CAD pattern machine, and then we can do it in the laser cutting in the future. But before that, we can cut it by human, just like this guy. He can just follow the instruction and cut the fabric. We will keep improving our algorithm. Right now, over around 80% of customers, we don't need any fitting for make a perfect suit for them. We will keep improving our system until we can apply them to all different design of garments. So this is all the presentation. Thank you.
So thank you, Stephen, for sharing. Definitely bespoke tailoring would be some interesting fields that we can work further on. So we'll now move on to the discussion and the Q&A session. So for our audience on-site and online, you're welcome to raise questions throughout our Q&A box. And actually, right now, we have some questions in our pigeonhole. So just now, we've been mentioning a lot about how AI as a tools to improve further on our workflows and different fields. But do you foresee that there would be some industries or work types that would be completely replaced by AI in the coming future?
Maybe I'll go first. Industry, I don't think so. Work type, definitely. Because industry is defined by how we economics, right? If there is an industry, that means there is a market, there's a product. But I don't believe there are products that can be fully automated. There are still people behind who can design products and that is fit for human use. Unless the product is purely for AI use, there will be a human component. So I think, as I mentioned, there will be people who know AI who will probably replace the people who don't know AI.
Yeah, I completely agree. And actually, I believe there are some process they will completely replace it by AI, and then all the industry standard that those industry apply AI will be improved. For example, what process I think AI will replace, that is after we analyze a lot of data, and then we give some report to let the decision maker to view the report, and then he make the decision. The reason is, decision maker, sometimes we will think that when we run a business, all the decision making is rational, but indeed it is not. Human beings have their mind, what they want to do. This is not a mathematic. But AI can do is to analyze a lot of those data and then give you some insights, and the decision maker can get through the information.
Right, thank you for your answer. And definitely, I do think maybe workflow or talents who know or who don't know how to deploy this method maybe in some sense replaced in the future. But being on the bright side, so what do you think are the core characteristics that you think AI could not replace human beings?
Yeah, maybe I go first. Just like there are actually several. The first one I have talked before is about the decision making, and the second one is about anything about human personality. I mean, in the micro way. For example, we can try to analyze the human's preference on online shopping. But however, we cannot analyze those data very clearly about what this guy is thinking, because we do not have enough data to do and analyze. For example, when we see a person, we can feel that, oh, maybe he is happy or not. Maybe we can say it is a facial expression, but there is actually more and more information that we cannot collect, because we don't know what exactly we collect in our human body. And the second is about art. For example, you can see artwork we can generate by AI, but it is indeed not actually an art, because art is talking about how we express ourselves. This is all about something like empathy. Then this is AI cannot just understand us, because, well, he just cannot understand.
Well, I like the contrast, because I think Stephen focused more on the B2C market. We serve a lot more on the B2B side. The bottleneck we see on AI adoption is adoption, right? It's people who, whether they trust the AI. So we see there are actually a lot of capabilities that AI can do, even creativity on, solving certain not just capital markets, but professional workflows like litigation. That requires creativity to solve a case. Or it could be equity research, where you have to write an opinion about certain news, certain happenings. I think those already, there are use cases on how AI can already do potentially better than human. The issue is, do we believe in the decisions that they make? I don't see that happening in the next 10 years, maybe 20. We are the bottleneck. So as long as we don't accept them making decisions, I don't see that will be replaced. But apart from decision making, when I also teach a fintech course at HKU Space, and a lot of people ask, what type of jobs will still exist in 30 years? If your job is within data analytics, but it relies on a lot of button clicking, that will also be replaced, right? I think those jobs with a human touch, so if you're client facing, if you're on the high end side of the business, because people don't want to pay a lot of money just to talk to a robot, they want a person to talk to. Those would still be preserved, but if we're talking about volume, right? How can we provide the best product at the lowest cost? Those products would gradually be, not replaced, but assisted by AI in order to make that happen.
Yeah, I very like about just like because decision making is not so rational. So even if your AI suggests, oh, this is the right decision making, but it is not exactly what he wants. So that's why we don't actually believe on AI. And also, and I think if those analyze those jobs, we have a very completely rule, an accurate rule, and the AI will follow it. This will be replaced. This process will be replaced.
Right, thank you for both of your answers. Definitely some insightful sharing for us. So since time is running out, so maybe we can give some last few lines for our audience on this topic, whether AI as a companion or a competitor, or do you have a few more to add?
Well, I think in closing, it's never too late to learn about AI. It's a very big word, because AI is just a subset of computer science. Within AI, there's so many different types. There's natural language processing, there's deep learning, statistical learning, there visual recognition. These are all under the bracket of AI. So I think even what Stephen is doing and I doing are very different fields of AI. So do learn about it. Don't be scared of it. If you understand it, it's actually not that scary. And it's actually quite helpful, quite fun to learn as well.
Yeah, it is so fun. And actually, yeah, I love what Kevin said. You just learn them. You just try to learn them. And actually, it will make all the industry, all the profession in a higher standard. So after you learn AI and apply AI in your industry, and then if you just make something that you think is very difficult, it will become much, much easier. And then you can have more rooms for you to think about a better way. So just like what we always say, elevate greatness. All the industry are all already great, but after you apply AI, you can just have more rooms to think, how can we do better and better? Think.
Right, thank you so much, Kelvin and Stephen, for your insights and time. Definitely, I think audience will be pumped to get a few books or sign up some tutorials to learn more about the topic. So may I invite both of you for a group photo right now? Yes. So with that, this marks the end of the session. When we hope you find this discussion fruitful, and if you have any comments and suggestions, you can fill out the questionnaire by scanning the QR code later on screen. And don't forget to visit our exhibitors booth on site and online for collaboration opportunities. So thanks again, and our next session, Capture Funds at Critical Times, will start at 11:45 a.m. Please stay tuned. And we would also like to invite you to our concurrent event, BIP Asia Forum, held at HKTDC Halls 5FG on 1st of December and online on 2nd of December. This year's forum will unlock the full potential of IPs in business value creation, covering trending topics on the industrial metaverse, latest IP development, etc. Together with the debut Innovation and IP Market, the forum aims to provide you with new insights on developing new business frontiers. Please return the SIS hat to our staff at the room entrance before leaving, and please make sure you take all of your personal belongings. All items left behind will be removed. Thank you very much, and we wish you a fruitful e-day. Goodbye.
基本法確保咗一國兩制可以行穩致遠，令香港保持獨特地位。
低稅率以及健全嘅基礎建設，亦都令到香港有非常之好嘅營商環境。
香港完善嘅法制，令經濟穩定繁榮。
國安法令社會安定，自然更有利營商環境啦。香港同祖國緊密聯繫，亦都係中國一個面向國際嘅窗口。呢個地位可以話係世界上獨一無二。
基本法第115條保障咗我哋嘅貨物、無形財產，甚至係資本嘅流動自由。
無論係內地或外地企業同香港公司合作，就係雙贏。
我哋香港人有國際視野，產品融合中西文化，靈活運用兩地嘅資源同埋優勢，能夠創造出更加高嘅價值。
做初創有政府支持好重要。我哋喺2016年加入咗數碼港培育計劃，幫助我哋發展得更加成功。
我相信完善嘅金融體系以及法治係非常之適合我哋喺香港建設我哋嘅業務。
喺基本法嘅保障之下，香港喺大灣區開發之中擔任重要角色，可以見香港年輕人機遇良多啊！